Hello. Hello. Okay. Just have to put on some music. There we go. Okay, let's see. We were playing around with adding this UI iteration thing. Oh yeah, we didn't actually ask it to implement it. Okay, anyway, so the point is that we have this workflow now where they has a tool to validate. Well, first of all, we have a really nice architecture to implement state in UI deterministically, and a tool to allow it to verify the different states, or even like explore the different states of the user experience, and then validate the different states of the experience. But we don't really have a way to verify the actual UI, how things actually looks. So that's what we're working on now. And we found this workflow where we kind of use, what's it called? Like VPress. Well, it's kind of like Storybook. Oh, fucking kids. We're having a rough day with the kids. They're arguing all the time. Oh. They were at their or they were taken care of by their grandparents, so my partner and me could have a date, like a overnight date, but it has cost. They get like, I don't know, extra restless and out of it, and it's bad weather today, rainy. They stay inside. It just doesn't work. Let's see. I'll try to do the stream, but yeah, it puts me down. Just listening to the arguing. Anyways, so we already had some tests here. So it's very easy for the AI to generate a test that takes like the state of the application. It can manipulate any state. It takes the services of the application. It can mock any services and just generate the specific state it wants to test, or set an initial state, drive the UI to validate state transitions. But we want to have a way to just produce a specific state and take a look at the UI. So we're using the same approach, that the agent can write a test which presents a specific state, and then it's possible to load that test in the browser and just take a screenshot of it. I'm not quite sure how this is gonna work out, because it's literally kind of setting up the states. I'm wondering if we should rather have... Yeah, okay, sorry. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So we're changing the concept. We're writing stories. So the stories is just using the test utilities to produce specific starting points for any abstraction level in the component tree. And then we can write a test from that. So it kind of like the story produces a specific state, and then we can write a test with that story to drive the UI forward to validate that it works. Or we can load that story into the browser to take a screenshot of it to validate the actual look of it. Okay. Please go ahead. So this is going to be interesting. This is gonna be interesting. Yeah, so the whole point here is that, yeah, it's kind of funny. I just sat down. I'm trying to find a way. I made this video about like what's after context engineering, But this is kind of context engineering. But I just happened to like just write instruction-driven development, and I think that fits perfectly what I'm trying to do here. It's instead of writing a test first to validate if the code is correct, I'm writing instructions first and see if the code becomes correct. So even though it's not completely deterministic, it's like generative code will never be deterministic. But you want it to be much more deterministic than the initial, what the AI outputs generally. So yeah, instruction-driven development. Maybe that can become a thing. Because that's what you want to do. Like that's my mental model is like when you do an actual PR review, you don't just want to, like when you make reviews, you do that based on your understanding of the code base. But if we're moving towards a world where we don't really know what's in the code base anymore, it's just AI generating everything, what you want to make sure is that you have to have ownership in something, right? Like you have to have some expectation of how the code is supposed to be written. So having these instructions, that's something that still gives you ownership in how the code is written. You just don't have ownership in the specific code that is written. So you kind of go into so my mind is that you go into a PR to review it and you look at the code and your context is the instructions. Like, did it actually generate this code from my expectations of the instructions? And that's like, you can like generate a huge ton of code that you don't need ownership in, as long as you have ownership in the instructions that made that code happen, I think. It's a theory, working theory. Oh, thank God, the oldest is going out. Stories entry, workflows, UIMD. Okay, so the thing I haven't quite gotten or figured out from this is what if I just want to ask it to explore different UI? It would need to create a story for each of them. Maybe that's fine. Maybe that is fine. We'll see. But this is really interesting. Stories are a really nice primitive. Okay, cool. So we have our new system in place. I just want to make sure. So we described a new workflow called UI. Use when the user wants to refine the visual appearance of a component, layout, spacing, color, or type. Make a code change, take a screenshot, show it to the user. Does it say iterate on the visual appearance of a component using stories and screenshots? Use this after code has been written when the goal is to refine how something looks, not to define what it does. The workflow is distinct from the UX workflow, which defines interaction design and states before implementation. The UI workflow polishes appearance after implementation. Yeah, exactly. Stories file. Each story must be exported name function, element story format. Yeah, so this is how it looks. Like we just bring in the app provider. So this is the app state here is where we can mutate, as it says, mutate app state to set up the desired state. Cool. Yeah, stories are also imported by tests. Yeah, add a new story. Run the screenshots. Okay, let's see how this works like. So we're gonna create a new session. Let's see. So I'm looking at the main UI of the application, and I want to explore a couple of different approaches to how the main UI looks like. Currently, it's like a card component centered on the page, and I thought we could try to explore a couple of different approaches to the UI here. Maybe you can come up with a couple of suggestions. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm expecting here. Let's just see what it does so we can learn about it. Oh, interesting. So it's writing it as ASCII? That's interesting. Is this I guess this is a Claude Code instruction. Yeah, I'm trying to think about, one thing is like iterating on the existing UI, but this is like more proof of concepting. Let's see. Could you implement each version and then we can take a look at it? Yeah, interesting. Let's see what it does now. Because the thing is, like, if it's gonna present different versions, those need different implementations of the components, because that's where the UI is defined, like through classes. So I'm like curious what it actually does. Does it create multiple app files and stories for each of them, or does it change how we pass the styling so it can be dynamic? Or yeah, I don't know how I would approach this actually. Yeah. 3 component files and their stories in parallel. Yeah, it's interesting, like, because there's a completely different approach to this, which would be to like have a POC type of workflow where it just writes an HTML file. It just replicates the UI, so it doesn't really implement anything. It just happens to the side of it, and you could even like explore different interactions and things like that, just to kind of bring in the context, kind of like a interactive plan mode. But then again, you still want it to be able to look at something. I'm not sure. I am not sure. Oh, it's looking at the images. Oh, it doesn't actually show the images in the chat. That's another thing. But I can try to look at them. Oh, I can't even. Interesting. Where does it put the images? Okay, that wasn't a good experience. Where are the images? I'll click them here for some reason. Huh. Copy link. What is actual link? Oh, screenshots. Oh, there we go. Hey, look at that. That's pretty cool though. Oh, look at that. Hey, that's actually pretty cool. Hey. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, and yeah, that's actually really, really cool. Huh. Yeah, but it's so weird I can't click them here. This is more of a problem with Claude, of course, but of course that's something we could change. So we actually have a screenshots folder, and we can tell it to just generate the screenshots. And it doesn't need to read the screenshots, because I'm gonna be the one. Yeah, but then at the same time, we've created these components now, which is like built into the app. But this is more, yeah. Oh, it did a git ignore probably? I think it updated. Yeah, it git ignored the screenshots. Yeah, that makes sense. But this is great. Like, this works really great. Question is just how I want to use them. Because I don't want to pollute the actual app. It's almost like working on UI, you want these screenshots generated just for me to validate. And then I kind of say, okay, I like this one, or I like this change. And then it's actually implemented into the actual source code. What's command palette? Oh, it kind of opens as a command palette. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure about this. And the cool thing is that we can also pass in like different dimensions and stuff. So it's easy for it to iterate on like mobile versus desktop and all of this stuff. So it's a powerful tool. It's just a question of how to approach it. So one thing is, yeah, if I just want to make it adjust something, I'm happy with the UI, but I want to adjust something. And I want it to be able to quickly validate what it did. Does it look good? And then it makes sense that, oh, we already have the stories. I just made an adjustment. So let's just go and use the existing stories to validate how it actually looks. But then we have this like proof of concept kind of thing. But maybe it's fine. Like we're working on a branch. We're just testing stuff out. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, but let's play around with it some more. So I like the app full page version. So I think we should change to that one. Yeah. I wonder if it's going to clean up after itself. Yep, please do. Yeah, it's interesting how you kind of have your application and you want to test something in. Oh, look at that. Well, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, this is very interesting. What was the other thing I was going to do? Well, I think we should add the dimensions thing. So let's imagine I really want to. Yeah, and we should also explore that. Maybe we should simply. Okay, let's just commit this. Okay, I'm happy about these changes. Let's get a PR up and running for this. Yeah, let's see what it does now. Does it actually... Does it change branch now? Because this is the thing that I always forget. If it changes into a new branch or... Because it should. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum. Yep. Good. Good, good, good. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it still doesn't have... Oh. Why isn't GitHub CLI available? That's weird. I think we need to restart VS Code. going off the races. Deny. So I'm not sure why you do not have. It works in my terminal. Okay, we're just gonna restart code here, and then hopefully. New my. That mice tool is incredibly annoying. It's constantly updating. Where is this the one? No. Where did my... Wait, where's my... Seriously? Did I lose my whole thread? No. What? Are you serious? Did I lose my whole session? Wait, what's going on here? Why is this such... Oh, oh, it's the bottom one. Okay, sorry. I expected it to be on the top. Try again now. You should have available. But it's really complex. Like, one thing is doing like test-driven development. You kind of set up this simple test framework, and then yeah, it's simple. But like an instruction-driven development, it's incredibly complex to set up everything. Current behavior, new behavior. Did it include the UI flow? Yeah. Okay, let's just merge that. Cool. Oh yeah, okay, there. So what I was thinking is that we can split this up into a mobile app and a web experience. So we're gonna have two different UIs, two different set of components. We're gonna have mobile components and desktop components. And then basically the main file is gonna split this up into two different experiences, because this is also one of the powers of running your state outside your components, is that it's much simpler to create two. So you don't, like, responsive apps works for a website, but it doesn't work for an actual app, because you want a different feature set on mobile compared to the web, because the web just has a lot more real estate to do more things and do things in a different way, because you're not using touch, for example. It's just a completely different experience. But you want it to be driven by the same state management. So we are going to split this app into an explicit desktop version and a mobile version. So instead of having a components folder, we're going to have mobile dash components and desktop dash components. Or sorry, no, we're going to have a mobile folder with its own components and UI components, and we're going to have a desktop folder with its own components and UI components. And then in the main file, we need to detect which version we're actually going to load. And I'm thinking that we actually lazy load it for now. This is going to some extent hurt the initial loading time, of course, but this is an app, so I think that's fine. Yeah, could you explore how you want to approach that? And this is a nice thing, is if your components is just deriving state, you're going to have the same set of services and everything, and basically state management. And then maybe there is some things you want to avoid on mobile, for example, in terms of state management or data loading or whatever it is. But I want to argue that is far less exceptions than UI. Let's see. Pointer course detects touch first devices more reliably than user agent sniffing. Okay. Okay, let's try this. Yeah, it's interesting, like check recent plans to avoid contradicting prior work. I'm not sure why you want to look at previous plans. Like, what context does that actually give you? Let's see. Split app into two separate platform trees, desktop and mobile, with its own components, UI components. Yeah, consideration, detection signal, pointer course. Maybe misidentified, but this is acceptable for now. Yeah, I think I'm not sure how to really detect this. Maybe it should be a combination of detecting touch and screen size. But yeah, lazy loading. Yeah, we're lazy loading it. Shared versus platform specific. Yeah, even generic controls will differ. Yeah, exactly. Ruled out runtime media query. Yeah, the platform is not, so we're not going to create responsive solution. We're going to identify immediately, are you on mobile, or what device are you on? That's what we care about. So the thing I think is missing here is that we also want to update our instructions. So we also want to add a task here to update our agents file so that we have instructions and context on having this split. Also make sure that the workflows related to components knows about this split we are making now, so that any future sessions with the agent the agent is aware of our architecture on this. Hello there. Yeah, I'm good. How are you? How are you? Update UI, replace the story path. Yeah, cool. Let's do it. Do, 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 do. Yeah, so we're gonna definitely change the mobile version of this. And this is also gonna be nice that we can do like this screenshot driven thing to validate how things look. But yeah, again, you wanna also, of course, you wanna be hands-on testing the actual application, but it's, I don't know. Yeah, it is really interesting. I feel like the actual testing of the application should really happen like very, very late in the process, like at the human review point, because like you don't want an agent to test like how does it feel like using a mobile phone on this app? How does it feel like using it in, like, it's about, because we're creating user experiences, we're not creating AI experiences, so there has to be a human actually evaluating that. But you want these like very cheap validations that brings you as close as possible to that. Yeah, you could even argue like having different workflows for implementing mobile versus desktop. Like it gets so incredibly complex, but this is, I think what this does is also reveal the actual complexity of building something. Like all the effort that goes into evaluating how to approach something, how to solve something. Like what do we actually think about when we just shove an AI into a project and say, hey, go and do this thing? We have a shit ton of like hidden instructions in our mind that doesn't come through in the prompt. And that's why we get these unexpected results. So it's a good practice doing this like instructions driven development, but it's a lot of effort. Hello there. Har du fått noe svar fra Jakob da? Han er ikke hjemme. Er han ikke hjemme? Hva det jeg kan leke med? Ikke Eskil heller? Jeg har ikke lyst til å leke med han. Har du ikke det? Nei, du må vente litt da. Du må vente litt da. Nei, ja, men jeg holder jo på med noe. Gjett hva jeg spiser. Rabarbra. Ikke. Hva vet du det? Fordi du holder en rabarbra i hånda. Dere snakket jo om det i sted, vet du, når vi var oppe. Så fikk du en kopp med sukker. Okay, let's see. So they changed all of this stuff. What if we run dev? Let's take a look at what it did. Oops, what did I do? So we have desktop. We have mobile. Nice. What about the main thingy? Oh, that's interesting. But is this when a file has exports? I have to ask about that. Oh. Cool. So we load the mobile or the desktop version based on the device. This is probably fine. This is the story stuff. Yeah, I think this is fine. I am curious about this. I don't know. Isn't there like a... Oh, fuck. There is an error. No, if this is valid, or what we can do to fix it. So yeah, I'm curious how this is gonna... how this is gonna look on mobile. Yeah, and how we're gonna actually fix it. So one thing I forgot is that we need a way to... Nei, etter jeg er ferdig her.
Men det går for lang tid.
Ja, men nå holder pappa på med en ting, så da kan du finne på noe annet imens. Så sier jeg ifra når jeg er klar.
Men jeg er jo allerede klar.
Jo, jeg er jo det.
Han må aske.
So we need to extend our screenshot script to be able to set the actual... Or do we? I'm thinking about, like, we just implemented a mobile version. I guess we want our screenshot script to, because we're just pointing to the component we're mounting, right? Or the story that we're mounting. But I want that to be aware of the size of the screen. So, but maybe we can build that into the script, so that when we're pointing to a mobile story, because that's in the path, right? So maybe the script can identify that, and then it just sets a different size of the screen to reflect a mobile device size. So that when we take screenshots of the mobile components or the mobile stories, we kind of get that in the correct dimensions. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Hva er det for noe?
Ja.
Er det sånn... Er det pannekake? Nei, det er sånn lapp. Er det det jeg kaller det? Ja. Har mamma laget? Så godt da.
Smake?
Jeg vil gjerne smake. Ikke legge den opp på den. Oi, tusen takk.
Det smaker godt.
Det var digg. Jeg sier ifra. Oh, it's currently broken. Change the invocation to... or mobile app. The script splits on / to get the platform, sets the viewport accordingly, and passes the full path. Okay, let us try this.
Kan du snakke litt med mamma? At jeg får inn Fortnite. Kan jeg også snakke inn Fortnite i 2 minutter? Kan jeg Fortnite i
Nei, nå
1 minutt?
Vi var jo enige nå, vet du, at du ikke skulle gjøre det. Okay, could you create me 2 screenshots, one for the desktop and one for the mobile, just so I can look at it?
Pappa, kan jeg se på du med Fortnite?
Ja, jeg kan spille litt etterpå, men jeg vil jo gjerne bli ferdig her først.
Kan jeg se på deg? Kan det være han der sjølvern?
Ja.
Vi har kjøpt han.
Yeah, I don't like that it reads the... Oh, what error? There's a hook error in the browser. Oh, there is. I think we're gonna take a look at this here instead. Oh, what happened here? That's interesting. Anyways, we'll take a look at that. Hey, that's pretty cool. Nice. But yeah, what's going on here? App to-dos. Oh, we don't have the to-dos anymore. What happened there? Oh. Oh, sorry, it's my local storage. Let's see, clear site data. There we go. That was an old thing. Yeah, because we reset. Yeah, so the error came because of local storage, and then we set the actual to-dos, and then it worked fine. That's why it worked. Anyways, so this is pretty cool that we can generate this. That is pretty cool. Okay, I guess this is... Oh, what is platform app? Oh, interesting. Reactive. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, makes sense. All the old components. Mobile tree starts without tests. Okay, please add tests for mobile as well. So they are on par. So this is another thing. I'm not sure about these tests. Like, they don't really... Yeah, I'm not sure about these tests at all. I don't think we should have them. We can have the stories. I think that makes a lot of sense. But validating... Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Because we're just saying, okay, based on this state, this is how the UI is going to look like. But the true validation of that is actually using it. So you rather want that to be screenshot based. Like, you want these stories, you want those screenshots that represents how that actually looks like on the different devices. So it feels like the stories are not something to even implement per device necessarily. And the tests you really want is about, like, does the state actually move the way you want it to? Which is a different kind of test. That doesn't need, like, the components and everything. Ja, må vente litt. Hva er det du må ikke spise de, da. Jeg kommer snart, Oskar. Jeg kommer snart. Yeah, I need to think about this. I would rather prefer having, like, a service. Ja. Nei. Ja. Like, on each PR, you actually get a URL, so you can just click it and go in and interact with the whole app. And the same for... That also gives you the chance with your mobile phone to just click something and test the app. But then as part of the PR, it would be nice if you just have these screenshots. And I think you can do that. That would be really interesting. Oh, that's something to explore. So that when we create the PR, we can actually take screenshots from the screenshots we generate and put them into the PR. That's really interesting. Yeah, that is very interesting. Maybe that's more how we want to do it. And I know there are solutions like getting an AI to, like, open the app and even record a video of what it's doing as part of the PR, which is very cool. But it's very expensive. And also generating these different states doesn't cost anything, like, in the sense that you don't need the AI to actually, like, it can fake all the state. So it's incredibly cheap. It makes a change. It just creates a story about, this is the state of the app related to the change I made. This is how it looks like. They don't have to, like, sign into anything and do all of that stuff. There seems to be a lot of value in that. But you would have specific stories for mobile, specific stories for desktop. But some stories would be for both of them. Yeah. But I think we're going to remove the actual tests, and then we're just going to have the stories. And then we're going to... Yeah. We're just going to have the stories to generate the screenshots. And then we would rather write tests for the actual state, which we already have. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so we're going to make some changes here. We're actually not going to have tests for the components themselves. We're only going to have stories. And these stories, they're just used for taking screenshots for now. But our tests are going to be in the state folder to validate state changes. So basically just remove the tests and keep the stories from desktop and mobile. But we're going to do one more interesting thing, and that is related to creating a pull request. We want to instruct the agent to take relevant screenshots and include that in the PR. And I'm curious how this actually works, because we have our own script for creating and updating PRs now, and maybe it's possible to like pass in reference to certain files to that script, and it will... I'm not sure how this even works with the GitHub CLI. How do you add screenshots to a PR? But yeah, please explore that. Yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make this fix, we're gonna merge it, and then we're gonna go and create another PR which changes a little bit of the UI, and then we're gonna see how those PRs look like. Please make sure that our instructions for the agents state that we should not write tests for components, only stories. Yeah, I guess that's it. I think I forgot to mention that. Veldig snart. Oh. Tests are down to 7, state only. Here's what I found. Has no clean public API for uploading images. Oh. Uploads, repos, issue, returns bad size. Huh. GitHub renders image or relative path in PR bodies. Huh. Oh, there has to be a way to do that. Could you please validate on the web if if you can include images to PR body, like you're able to add images to a PR body manually. So there has to be a programmatic way to do that, right? Please check on the web and validate. Det er straks ferdig. Ja, jeg vet det. Det er så kjedelig når ikke noen andre barn er hjemme hos deg. Da blir du veldig avhengig av at pappa er klar til å leke med deg. Men jeg har mine egne ting å holde på med, vet du. Så da blir det litt venting. Jeg må bare få det her til å funke. Hæ? Her? Det er fordi de som ser på kan se litt bedre. There's no public gateway API for uploading images. Undocumented endpoint that requires browser session cookies and can't be called from a script. Create a pre-release tag for the branch attaching the... Huh. What the fudge? Is that not possible? Yeah, I think I need to think about this one because I really want this to work, but I don't want to include every screenshot. This is only for review. This is annoying. Is there any way to define like a folder that is only like part of a PR, but then it's like removed when you merge it? Something like that? Pre-release. Okay, I have to jump, but I'm gonna think about this. This is super annoying, but it will be incredibly nice. I think, or maybe this should be a local thing. Ah, for fuck's sake. Whatever. Bye bye.